Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a video for you guys that was coming for a while. It's the Q&A video. On my community tab on YouTube, I ask you guys multiple questions throughout the week that you can all vote on and comment on and discuss. And one of the topics was about a Q&A video, and a bunch of you guys have responded to that. So I'm going to answer all your questions today. I got a bunch from Twitter too. And remember, if you want to stay involved in the channel, I respond to almost every comment in the comment section. And I also post a lot on my community tab, and be sure to also like the Facebook page and the Twitter page. And especially on Twitter, I share a lot of behind the scenes stuff, so if you're interested in that, be sure to follow me over there. Before we go into the questions, however, I have to show you guys something really cool that I love and like, and I'm super happy and stoked about. The channel officially has a new partner, which is yourplaymat.com. And from now on, I will always have a link in the description that uses my affiliate link. So if you ever go to the website, be sure to use that. I also have a code that gives you 10% off your purchase, which is also quite nice. Now you might wonder what Your Playmat is. Your Playmat is a website that allows you to make your own custom playmats, but they have more than that. They also have custom sleeves, which is one of their newest products, and it's really cool. And in honor of our collaboration, they made something really cool for me. Now, some of you guys may have already seen this, but here we have the official Tatsym playmat. I'm gonna show you a couple of shots with this as well, and I shared a very high detailed picture on my Facebook page, my community page, and my Twitter page as well. And this playmat is just the best. I love it. I love that they done that. You can see everything here. You can see all the decks that I played throughout the years. You have Infernoids, you have Burning Abyss, Invoked, Guru, Colossus is there, and also of course Eldritch, which is a very popular deck on my channel. And yeah, I really love that they reached out to me and asked me to support them, and that they provided such a beautiful playmat in honor for our collaboration. And yeah, I'm super excited. Be sure to check out my links, and if you purchase something, use my code off, and you will help me, and I will help you, and we all help each other. And you are ready for the upcoming tournament season. When tournaments finally get to start, you can show off your very cool custom playmats. Thank you, Your Playmat, for reaching out again and working together with me, and I am ready for a bright future for the two of us. And yeah, I just love it. I'm gonna use this playmat from now on for everything. You're gonna see it in all my deck profiles, and I just really like it. I really like showing it off. So let's just start off with the Q&A. So I'm gonna go through the comment section on the community post first. This is accessible for everyone. Just go to my channel and you will have like a couple of things at the top, and one of them will be community, next to about and videos and playlists and stuff. And right there you can see all my community posts where I post regular content, where I, for example, poll if either VFD or Benton should be banned. And most of you said that they all should be banned. So yeah, if you agree with that, be sure to vote on there, and more votes are of course always coming. So yeah, the first question of the bunch is from Yugioh, a good friend of mine. Be sure to subscribe to him as well. I have a couple of very cool channels on my channel. If you go to my channel, then you can see, like on the bottom, you'll see a couple of recommended channels, like King Scarlet. Yugioh is on there as well. Very awesome content creators. Be sure to go check them out. What are your favorite and least favorite cards of all time? I would say that this is gonna sound like kind of weird, but kind of gimmicky. But I'd say that Dante would definitely be there as one of my favorite cards of all, because that is the card that introduced me to competitive play. My other favorite card could be Fire King High Avatar Garunix, because that is the deck that I basically really started playing Yu-Gi-Oh with. Those two are really high valued. And my least favorite card of all time, I think that would be a Psychic Soldier that rides through to the sky through currents of lightning, fighting opposing for. I don't really know the flavor text exactly, but Driver. I really hate the Gamma package, and I really hate Driver in specific. So I think that would properly qualify as card that I would like the least. Now there are a couple of archetypes I dislike as well, but I think that will be later in the Q&A as well. Josiah Nelson asks, what are your favorite rogue decks of all time? You all probably know me for my rogue deck, since that's basically all that I play. I play meta decks as well, like Eldritch for example, but I just really like to play the game and explore everything a deck has to offer, and I really like the challenge of getting something that isn't optimal and making it optimal and getting results with that. For rogue decks, I'd say that Subterror would count as that. I would not actually count it as my favorite rogue deck. I really like it, but I don't say it's my favorite. But I overall really liked, for example, the grass decks, like the Burning Abyss grass deck, when that was a thing, because that wasn't like the properly best grass deck out there, but it was kind of rogue back then. Like throughout the years, I've always played rogue, and I can't really say I have a favorite. I have a couple of that I like to explore from now and then, like Infernoids, for example. But like BA in a not BA format would probably be my favorite rogue deck. JC Montano asks, what ratio of pots would you play in Subterra now that Disparity has been released? This is actually kind of relevant because, of course, Cesar won the Invitational with Subterras, and he played 2 Duality and 3 Prosperity. I'm not the biggest fan of running Duality in a deck that features either the Numeron package or the Red Eyes package, because if you draw both, it's kind of dead. And of course you need discard fodder for Dragoon, but it seems kind of ridiculous to like use that then. I think that 2 Duality is pretty good, because of course it is once per turn and it's not the most important. It should always be combined with another pot that actually does something. And after testing it for a while, I really don't like Prosperity in the deck. Prosperity is really good when you have 1 of 2 engines, if you play 2 engines. But Prosperity really isn't good if you have none, because if you have to dig for one specific like card, then Prosperity will do the job, but you will always be like missing stuff. I really like the fact that Extravagance is a +1, which is why I would always favor it over Prosperity after having tested it in Guru, because Subterra really isn't like one of the best decks, and it really needs all the cards it can get, and digging for 1 versus drawing 2 might just make the difference, you know. I really think that drawing 2 is better at almost all times. Joshua's Boosters, well known on the channel. What do you think the actual deck in the actual best deck in the current format is, and why is it Phantom Knights? It's just Phantom Knights, right? It has to be. Such a good matchup versus VFT, right, Joshua? LJ asks, what are some of the most annoying hand loop and or FTK decks you've had to deal with? I played a bunch throughout the years. One of the most annoying definitely was like Gumbler format, especially when that was like arguably the best deck and you went to a YCS and no one was playing it, which made like side decking horrible. But like the Gauki hand loop was one of the worst. But I think the worst format that I played in was Pendulum FTK, because the Pendulum FTK was just like hyper consistent FTK deck. And it just really sucked playing against, and the YCS that was, when that deck was a thing, was really horrible, because the deck was everywhere, because it wasn't really expensive, it was kind of cheap, it was really easy to do. So I'd say my like worst FTK deck award would definitely go to Pendulum FTK. Patrick VN asks, when will the Plunder Player Patrol player be back? That is a reference to Bruce Wenzel being one of the best Plunder Patrol players out there. Bruce actually was recently featured on my channel playing Mutants in the Netherlands versus Belgium Tournament Edition, so you can check him out there. But for when Plunder Patrol will be back, this format is really not that good for Plunder, since Virtual World really plays around the archetypes of the attributes that Plunder is really good against. Just like the Triton, and it cannot really keep up right now. But of course we have the Plunder Patrol Raven coming in the future, and I know that Bruce is very excited about it, and he has been testing the deck. And I can assure you that he will be back in the future. The Worst Duelist asks, what is your general opinion on main tech cards or deck building as a whole? I really like tech cards. I think that the correct card can definitely win you a tournament, like playing it in the deck. If you look back at the first Extravagance that I topped with Subterror, my deck was basically built very specifically around tech cards like Dogmatica Punishment, Ice Dragon Prison, stuff like that. I played hardly any Floodgates, and that was specific for that event because the meta was really unsure and slow. So I really wanted to like extend my reach and try to have something that beats every deck. And I really think that it is cool to have like specific decks, but I'd always had like the core principle that you shouldn't stray off the path too far. Like, don't try ridiculous stuff. Like, for example, I just saw a BA list with Sekka's Light in the main, but he also mained Mischief of the Gnomes and Red Eyes Fusion. And although that is a very cool list, I'd just say like drop the Sekka's Light and just wait until it gets to 3, and until then, of course, Red Eyes Fusion works with Verte, but like Mischief doesn't, even when sending it with Beatrice. And like, those decks like are just so like counterproductive. Like, just keep like in mind that you are actually trying to build a competent deck and that you want to compete, and just don't put in like too much random stuff. Feel free to explore everything, but keep in mind that you do have to make results with some form or level, and you do have to counter like multiple decks in the format. Adam asks, what Yu-Gi-Oh card would be the most nutritionally beneficial if you can only eat one? I'd say that it has to be an ulti, because I think that the layers on that would taste slightly better than just a printed ultra rare or a super rare. So I think it has to be an ulti. And then I think you might want to eat a Star Eater, just because it's both ironic and because it's a very big boy. So I think that would also give like some additional nutritions. They have Brendan Hernandez asking, I have been seeing a lot of 2-offs this format. Why do you think that is? Also, what general approach do you take on the number of copies of a certain card, or generally optimizing consistency? Also, what got you into Yu-Gi-Oh? That's 3 questions, that's against the rules. I'll go with the first one. Seeing a lot of 2-offs this format, I think that people are looking to get the most value out of their buck. Buck? The most buck out of their bang, that's the saying. People really don't want to limit themselves to cards that are hard ones per turn. If you look like a card like Ice Dragon Prison, it's one of the best cards in the format, but if you have 2 in your opening hand, it really sucks. So I think that people are, because of the insanely high quality of cards right now, like you have like Ash, Bell, Skullmeister, Diddy Crow, for example, those are all hand traps that you can play. It might be just beneficial to play multiple hand traps, but like play them all at 2, because then you still have the option to get like 2 hand traps in your opening hand, but you do have a bigger chance of not like opening doubles. Because I think that people are just sick of like opening doubles, so I think that is like, except for the stuff that you know have to play at 3, like for example Sanguine, stuff like that. I do think that there's like an argument for running a lot of trap cards at 2 or hand traps at 2, just because you don't want to break on opening doubles that often in this format. And that's also kind of the take that I have on the number of cards that I play. Like, if you look at the Guru deck, for example, Pot of Extravagance is one of the best cards in the deck, so that's a card that you would definitely want to have 3 of. But a card like Pot of Duality is not as good as Extravagance. You'd rather see Extravagance than Duality, but I do think that it's pretty solid to have like 5 more cards that dig deeper into your deck. So you can run triple Duality, but like 2 Duality really sucks, and I know that's 2 Extravagance also kind of sucks, but Extravagance doesn't limit you as much as Duality, and it's kind of good for the next turn, unlike Duality, which gives you like only 1 resource and it has to dig and has to hit something good. So I think that overall it's just like the value of a card. What card would I like to run at 3 and what card would I like to run at 2? Do I want to run 3 Ice Dragon Prison, 2 Punishment, or 2 Prison, triple Punishment? That's kind of the weight that you want them. Or how I look at it, at least. And also, what got you into Yu-Gi-Oh? When I was like a small child, like somewhere here, I watched the anime like most people on the television, and my parents bought me a couple of structure decks, and it was really cool. I never knew really what the game was, and skip forward a couple of years, and I was in high school in like the 4th out of 5 class. I don't know what it's in English, but whatever. And I don't know what really happened, but someone I was talking to was really interested in the game, in Yu-Gi-Oh! And he said, do you want to play? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to play, because I always liked it, and I really didn't know how it worked. And we started playing, and a couple of other kids from class started playing as well, and then we had like this very small community. And that was all really cool, and we were all trying to improve and get some, better cards, so we were researching online on how to get them. And luckily in the Netherlands we have like a lot of websites that offer use singles, so that's really cool. So yeah, we just started buying more cards and we just started getting our decks ready, and then we found a local, and that was also just getting started, so that was really nice. So we had like a brand new community getting into a brand new local, and from there on it just all kind of grew. And yeah, just like regular tournaments really hooked me, and trying to improve more and more and more, and eventually like the friendships that created over there, that's definitely what got me into Yu-Gi-Oh! I was just having so much fun back then on this stupid game, and yeah, haven't regretted it ever since. Luca Thomas asks, what do you think about Miradora? Miradora is the brand new level 6 dragon. When your opponent special summons a monster with 2000 attack from their extra deck, you can summon him, and that cannot be negated. And when he is special summoned in a new chain, he can negate the effects of a monster on the field, and that also cannot be negated. And that is kind of cool that it cannot be negated. It kind of sucks that it activates in a new chain, so you cannot negate, for example, a Nightmare Unicorn. And what also sucks is that your opponent can respond to it. It cannot be negated, but he can respond, so this also doesn't stop VFD. I do have to mention, by the way, the card that he negates stays negated until Miradora leaves the field. So you can like kind of force out of VFD and then like leave it negated until the next turn. But I think overall that the card really isn't better than anything that we have right now. It's kind of cool. It's like another Phantasme style where it summons itself and it stays on the field, but it needs more spice to be good. Paris the Nil asks, what are the best rogue decks at and how good is the Unchained deck? Just play PKBA, it's the best rogue deck, and Unchained is garbage. Relentless Roy asks, story behind your profile picture. Now that's a question that I really like. 2 years ago the World Championship was at Berlin, and Berlin is in Germany. Germany lays next to the Netherlands, so you think it would be like a 1 hour drive. It is definitely not. Me and Kevin and Janneke, friends of mine, we drove to Berlin 8 hours to go to the World Championship. We bought tickets online, and it was really cool. You had to register with your Cossi, and you got like goodies and stuff, and you could watch like the final day of Worlds there. And there was also the tournament that Raphael Nevin went to Worlds, so we were cheering on for our friend who lost day 1, so thank you, Raphael. But this wasn't only Worlds for normal Yu-Gi-Oh! It was also for the OCG, but it was also for Duel Links. And the guy on my profile picture, which is the same guy in the thumbnail right now, is Decade. And Decade is one of the biggest Duel Links streamers out there right now. He's the owner and the creator of Duel Links Meta, which is a website that organizes tournaments for Duel Links and keeps the meta of Duel Links like in a tier list. They make that stuff, and he's just really cool. He's a really high energetic guy. He knows a lot about the game. He's an actual TCG player who stopped and eventually started playing Duel Links. And I really like Duel Links myself. I don't really do much with it, but I have played it a bit, and I have a couple of decks on there, and it's really fun. And yeah, I'm just a huge fan of him because I always liked his content. I really like his attitude and his energy. And yeah, he was there. So when I saw him there, I just asked, hey man, can I get a picture with you? And he said, yeah, sure. And then when I started my YouTube channel, I was looking for a profile picture. And I had this picture, so I again asked him, is it okay if I use this? And he said, yeah, sure, no problem. And that's just the story. I clickbait with Decade now. Suffer Yugioh, another famous person on this channel, asks, would you rather quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Or continue playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But the only decks you can play is Ritual Beasts? I would quit Yu-Gi-Oh! In a heartbeat. Multi-Skidding is asking, who is smarter, Stephen Hawking or an average Megalith player? Definitely the Megalith player. Sander Hartog asks, who is Jinzo? He also asks, and what does Pot of Greed do? If I press this button right here, you can see report. The last question on the community page is from Dylan Balbergen. For the sake of narrative, if you'd have your own nation, would you or would you not implement a capitalistic political infrastructure? So you see what the thing is with that is, and that's why I think that Putin should be the leader of the world. Then from the Twitter page I also got a couple of questions. First one is from Red Eyes Giacollo, another YouTube channel, go check him out. What's the deck you thought is not going to work but it did? And while we're at it, what about the opposite deck where you thought it should work but didn't? I had a lot of faith in Dark Magician, and it really wasn't that good. Like with the soul support and stuff, I really thought that the deck would be solid. I really thought that it could like compete, but it really just wasn't going anywhere at all. And for the deck that I wasn't thinking was going to work was definitely Bird Up. I thought the deck would be like good, but I didn't expect to like get immediate results with it. And I did. I took second place on the Giant Card event, which is pretty cool for a deck that I have played for 3 days. But yeah, definitely Bird Up is something that I didn't expect to work out, but it did in the end, so pretty cool. Lumchop asks, how do you say your name? So my actual name is Marijn van Duivenboden, which is a Dutch name. Our grammar in the Netherlands is really hard, and it's really different from other countries' grammatical system. And my name is spelled Marygn. And the thing with the Dutch language is if you have the letter I, from like me, from I, and the J, from Jonas Brothers, if you put those two together, it becomes the Y. So my name is pronounced Marijn, with the I. But for every other country in the world, they don't have that. So I had variations of my name from like Marygin, which is the most common because that's how it is spelled. But I also had a lot of people like just they couldn't understand it. This is actually how I get a lot of emails from people from foreign countries. I get called Margin, but with the J in front of the Y, like I misspelled it myself or something because it is in my email address, but you know, whatever. And for the channel name, I've heard a lot of variations on that as well. Tatsym, like Lithium famously called it. Tatsym, but the correct pronunciation of how I would like my channel to be referred to is Tatsym. Very plain and normal and ordinary, but it makes sense that it's a weird name. I got it from somewhere. That's a reveal for a later date where I actually got my channel name from. Then Ronan Tonan asks, will you come to America? I actually was planning to go to America for YCS this year, but so yeah, that was the Q&A video. If you liked content like this, be sure to leave a like and stay tuned on the channel. I feature a lot of deck lists from time to time, and yeah, that's probably what you know me for. I don't think there's anyone watching this that isn't up to me yet, but still explaining it. Yeah, you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to answer them as well. And yeah, maybe we can do this again in the future. And yes, definitely stay tuned on the social media pages. And yeah, check out yourplaymat.com. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!